Have you ever looked down at your notes 15 minutes into a class lecture and you're not sure if what you have written down are comments on the revolution or if you have developed a new style of art? As far as your grade is concerned, you hope it is comments on the revolution. Note-taking is a skill that must be learned in order to survive in college. Developing a method of note-taking can enhance retention on information. It can decrease study time, and it can overall improve your academic learning. In this lesson, we are going to go over why note-taking is so important, the 3 major note-taking methods, and strategies for taking better notes, as well as how to review notes effectively in order to maximize remembrance. But why should we even take notes? By forcing yourself to take notes, it forces you to listen carefully and test your understanding of the material. When you are reviewing personal notes, it provides a gauge to what is important in the text, and also, your personal notes are usually more understandable than the actual text. The writing down of important points helps you to remember them even before you have studied the material formally. Here are some quick tips to help you get started. Before coming to class, make sure to complete all your homework. This will give you the edge to know what the teacher is discussing. Second, prepare a list of questions to ask the teacher. If you don't have any questions, you aren't thinking deeply about the material. Third, be physically and mentally present in every class. Make sure you use the restroom, drink some water, and eat a good snack so you're ready to learn. And also, sit front and center. It's hard to sleep when you are that close to the teacher. Also, don't sit near windows or anything annoying, such as fellow classmates. This will keep you focused and engaged. Fourth, be organized. Assemble appropriate supplies. Use a 3-ring binder, one side of a piece of paper. Label your notes by course name, date of class, topic of class, and number your pages and place notes in associated sections. Also, review your notes from previous class sections. Spaced review will help you retain the information better. Just being prepared to go to class doesn't mean you will be taking good notes. To take good notes is determined while you are in class. Here are 8 indicators to look for when taking notes. First, write the words the teacher writes on the board. Write definitions of keywords and phrases. Write down enumerations, which are a list of items under a particular heading, such as the 2 main themes of Doctrine and Covenants section 8 are 1. The future callings of the 12 apostles, and 2nd, the worth of souls is great. Fourth point. You want to pay attention to signaling phrases such as, this is an important reason, or don't forget that, and also, you will need to know this for the test. Fifth, you want to write down things the teacher repeats, and often when a teacher glances down at his or her notes, then makes a point, it is also convenient to write down. You want to pay attention to the emphasis in the voice or body language of the teacher. You want to write down examples the teacher gives. And finally, you want to watch out for signal words that indicate main ideas or supporting details, and summaries given at the end of class and the reviews at the beginning of class. There are 3 major note-taking strategies that are efficient and effective. The first one is the outline format. It is very useful for showing main ideas and supporting points. When you write notes in an outline, you write the key concept at the top of the page. Then you record main ideas. Under each main idea, indent a few spaces and record related secondary ideas. Under each secondary idea, indent a few more spaces and record any related major supporting details. If you need to add minor supporting details, indent those lines even further. For Cornell Notes, we divide our paper into 3 separate parts. First, draw a vertical line 2.5 inches from the left side of the page. The thicker right column is for lengthier details to support the main ideas. This is where the majority of your notes will be. The left column is called the recall column. This area is where you can write questions using the notes that you've taken on the right-hand side. You can easily fold your notes along that vertical line and quiz yourself on the questions you have constructed. The bottom section is for a summary after the lecture. Writing a summary of what you have learned in your own words allows better retention and understanding of the material. It is also an easy gauge to see if you really know and understand what you are taking notes on. The third method is mind mapping. Mind mapping is a way of taking notes by making a visual picture of the lecture or readings. This is an especially great way to take notes for visual learners. If your professor has a tendency to skip around in their lectures, this method has proven quite effective. The main idea behind mind mapping is to create notes the way the mind works so you remember them better. First, you start with the topic in the center and enclose it somehow. Examples include the title or subject being discussed. Second, use branches. Use a branch for each subtopic. Third, you want to add details. Details are what you want to remember about each of the subtopics. Keywords are usually sufficient because the topics make it obvious as to what you are talking about. Fourth, you want to personalize it. Each map you make should be personalized to meet your specific needs. Ways to personalize are using pictures, symbols, colors, or charts. When you first develop your own method of mapping, turn the paper horizontally. The best thing to do is to start mapping, then refine, and then correct a mapping style that will work for you. Most importantly, be creative. The sillier the better, because then you will remember it. So how many notes should I take? If you pay attention in class, you will soon develop an instinct to what is important and what is not. If you're not sure whether terms, facts, or ideas are significant, here is a good rule to follow. When in doubt, just write it down. This doesn't mean you should or could get any work written down, but you should plan to do a good deal of writing in class. Also, don't worry if you don't understand everything you record in your notes. Sometimes a teacher will phrase an idea several different ways, and it might turn out that the third version of the idea is the one you clearly understand. It is easy to cross out the material you don't need, but it is impossible to recover the material you never recorded in the first place. And keep in mind that by writing too much rather than too little may mean the difference between passing and failing a course, or between a higher and a lower grade. Here are 3 quick tips when taking notes. First, leave blank spaces for items or ideas you miss. Right after class, ask a student or the teacher to help you fill in the gaps. Also, if you fall behind in your note-taking, concentrate on what seems to be the main idea rather than the supporting details. You may be able to get the supporting details from another classmate or from your textbook. Don't hesitate to ask the instructor questions if certain points are confusing to you. Other students are likely to have the same questions, but are reluctant to have the material clarified. And remember, a teacher favors a student who shows interest and curiosity. Third, don't stop taking notes during discussion periods. Many important ideas that your instructor might not present formally may be brought up during informal discussions. Let's learn how to review. Immediately after class, make sure your notes are accurate, complete, understandable, and you can identify the main topics. You may even want to write a quick summary in your own words to commit to memory. You also want to quiz yourself on what you just took notes on. If you are using the Cornell note method, then you can fold along that 2-inch line and use the questions you have formulated. If you are using a different note-taking method, create questions from the main topics and key points and then quiz yourself on those. You also want to discuss the in-class lecture with friends and classmates. If you can't teach in your own words what you have learned, you probably don't know the material at the level to perform well on the exam. You also want to exchange and compare notes with a classmate. You might have missed a key idea, but your neighbor might have recorded it. Sharing notes gives you a more complete overview of the lecture. Talk with the instructor after class. Personal one-on-one time with the teacher is important. Take this time to address any concerns or questions you might have. The forgetting curve is important to keep in mind when reviewing your notes. Retention of classroom material diminishes significantly immediately following class. The retention of classroom material falls to 43% within 1 hour of class and as low as 21% within 24 hours of class. However, With regular spaced reviews, you can diminish the amount of forgetting that occurs. With each review, the forgetting curve flattens out so that there is less and less forgetting. The sooner you review and the more often you review, the better chance you have to beat the forgetting curve. Before we conclude, let's take a personal inventory. Are you prepared when you go to class by doing homework and readings? Are you organized in your note-taking? Do you know what things to write in your notes? Do you review your notes throughout the semester? Let's review what we have learned in this lesson. First, it is important to take notes. It forces you to listen carefully and make information personal. Second, before taking notes, it is important to do the reading and homework to be better engaged in class and to build upon your background knowledge. Third, while taking notes, it is important to look for indicators that teachers give that lead to important information. Fourth, the three main types of note-taking are the outline format, Cornell notes, and mind mapping. And fifth, after taking notes, it is important to review and quiz yourself on the notes for better attention. I wish you success in incorporating these note-taking strategies so that you can capture and retain the most information presented in each class.